You're listening to KEMPIRE here on the KEMPIRE Radio Network. Hey everyone, what's going on? Happy Tuesday Takeover. Shout out to everyone that's already in the chat. What's going on? Be sure to let me know where you're watching from. Also, you know we love to start our Tuesday Takeover with some good news, so let us know your good news. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? You know, technology, you know, of it all. It is hot here in New York City. I have the air conditioning on here in the studio. Normally, I really do not like to have the air conditioning on just because it can be a little loud, but I don't think you guys can hear, but it bothers me. But it's okay. You guys can hear me. You can see me, all that good stuff. Shout out to our mods that are already in the chat, the King's Guards. Shout out to those of you, the 70 of you that are already liked today's video. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate the support. I saved a couple of comments I saw some of you guys saying. Brooks says, I never get your notifications and I had to research for your channel even though I watch you often. And you're subscribed? Brooks, I don't know what to tell you, but I appreciate you doing the work just to make sure that you're here for the content. So thank you so much, Brooks. Sometimes turning off the notifications and turning them back on, sometimes that will work. Not sure, but if you follow me on X or on Threads, I usually do post when I'm going live. So you could also set reminders that way. Bianca says, KEMPIRE, can Real Housewives of Rhode Island please have its own live streams? Here's the thing. You guys don't show up for Real Housewives of Rhode Island yet. And a lot of you have been asking me for Tuesday Takeover to come back. So for me, I feel like Rhode Island can be a part of Tuesday Takeover. It's not like I'm taking away from us talking about it. Maybe next season, maybe season 2, it will earn its own spot. But for right now, based on the analytics and how you guys are showing up for Rhode Island, because I did a Rhode Island recap by itself last week. It did okay, but y'all not showing up. It's not worth my time or effort. I already have a lot of things going on. So I always have to be very strategic with time management when it comes to creating content, because doing a live and taking callers and that takes up like 3 hours of my day when I could be doing other things and covering other stories. Just saying. But I appreciate you wanting a separate one, maybe for next season, if you guys start showing up for it. Just saying. Bossy says, Rosie for president. Didn't know Lil Mama's had it in her. I did. She's a Taurus. Okay. Taurus season is almost over, so we're gonna bully it out. Okay, shout out to all the Tauruses. OMG, she definitely has it in her, but you got to pull it out of her. I literally just had to rewatch the episode again today before this live, so we'll get to that in just a second. I do have a couple of stories that I want to recap and talk about. It's still hot in the studio, and I have the air conditioning on. Hopefully, it'll get better. It's 92 degrees here in New York City. Yeah. Ashley says, I have joined the mailing list. Yes, guys, don't forget to join our mailing list, thekempire.com/join. Join today if you haven't already. Bianca says, I definitely watched last week. I did miss the live, but I was at work. It's okay. It's all right, Bianca. Just saying. I'm even talking about the replay. Y'all not showing up for Rhode Island on its own like that. How many views did we get on that one? Millie, thank you so much for gifting memberships. We appreciate your support. Moni says, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Moni. Happy birthday. Shout out to all the Tauruses. I'm realizing more and more the amount of different celebrity Tauruses that there are that I didn't realize before, and all the Tauruses that we have in our community. If you've been gifted membership, be sure to thank Millie. Thank you, Millie, for so much for supporting the channel. Guys, you can also support the channel just by liking today's video. I just realized when I tell you guys to join the mailing list, I think some of you think you have to pay for it. No, it's the mailing list. Join KEMPIRE's Inner Circle. It's free. It's free. And I will not be selling your information like some other people. Just saying, the Jen Shaw of it all, allegedly. You could put it in our search engine, okay? You could definitely put it in our search engine. Anyway, let me get to the stories that I want to talk about when it comes to our Tuesday Takeover. Again, be sure to let me know what your good news is today. Well, my good news is that I'm happy that the weather has warmed up a bit. I had a really good Pilates session this morning. Had a good few phone calls this morning with accountants and bookkeepers and things like that. You look, there's a whole thing, you know, beyond creating content, there's a whole business behind the KEMPIRE. So there's a lot of things that I had to do. Exactly. Free 99. Ariel says free 99. All right. All right. How do you sign up for it? There is a link pinned in our YouTube, or you can just go to thekempire.com/join. You have to go to that exact link, and it should take you to where you can sign up for our Kempire's Inner Circle mailing list. Shout out to those of you that were already a part of it and you believed from the very beginning. So you got a day-by-day rundown of my birthday trip. So shout out to you guys. All right. And I resent it to some of you that had just signed up recently. So there's like 60 of you yesterday that signed up. So you already got that. Stacy says, my good news, I voted. Yes, guys. Voting is happening today. I know definitely in Georgia, voting is happening today. So make sure that you go out and vote. Vote. What else? What else is going on? There's a lot of things going on in the world. So be sure, if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your good news as well. Let me take a sip. There we go. All right. I see Millie says, in it, day by day rundown indeed. And I feel like at Millie, you can weigh in as well. I feel like some of the things that I shared also would be helpful for anyone going on a trip to the same place that I went to. I feel like that, I mean, at this point, you guys know because I posted photos late last night. I posted photos and video from my birthday trip to Mexico City. So shout out to those of you that were a part of the Kempire's Inner Circle, but don't miss out. Don't miss out on the next thing because not only will I be sharing trips and tips and things like that, I'll be exploring exclusives and things like that. Also, if you're a Club KEMPIRE member of the Apple Podcast subscription, which you do have to pay for, that is where I share more intimate details. Well, not that intimate. I share more details there. All right. Elliot says, my good news, I quit my job to move home and they offered me a remote position. I love that for you, Elliot. Congratulations. I quit my job to move home and they offered me a remote position. That's amazing. Like, you see how things just fall together? And obviously, you're a good worker. Millie says, it helps with a good itinerary. See? Just saying. Anyway. PRT Diva says, Mexico City is one of my favorite cities. Yeah, I had a good time. Good food. I didn't realize good shopping, because if I had thought about that before going, I probably would have brought less stuff or an empty suitcase to, take home with me. Right? Haley says, congratulations, Elliot. Way of Keith. Way of Keith got some good news. Way of Keith says, my good news is that I'm alive, bills paid, and I got a savings account. Here goes Swoleston. I knew it. I knew it as soon as I said intimate. Swoleston said intimate. Eye emojis. I'd pay. It's not that type of intimate. But I just feel like it's more intimate than I'm going to share publicly. I was very happy doing the mailing list. So be sure to join that. I even let you guys know what I'm currently listening to musically, reading, that kind of thing. So join. All right. L. Singleton says, my good news is that 50 plus years young, my husband and I are in good health. I know that's right. Honey Bunny will be 60 next month. Taurus plus Cancer equals love. I'll just take your word for it. I'm kidding. No, Cancer is supposed to be an ideal match for a Taurus. Just saying. I'm loving all the good news, everyone. Keep it coming. Latoya says, my good news is that I'll be moving this weekend with my fiance. Oh, 2 more months, we'll be married and in a house. Congratulations, Latoya. I love when people have love. You know what I mean? Cheers to many, many, many years together and happy years together. You know what I mean? Linda says, hey, it's 8 p.m. in South Africa. Look, as I do the math, 6 hours ahead of us? That's amazing. Hold on. Ariel says, good news, 4-week postpartum and feeling great. Love hearing that. Thank you, Ariel, for sharing. Deja says, stop hating on us cancers. I was kidding. Calm down. Okay? Amy says, my good news is that I'm living in my answered prayer, breastfeeding my son, sipping on water, and watching Kempire. I love that. I love that for you. Thank you. Yes, guys, continue to share the love. Let's get into some of these stories. Okay, just to overview some of the stories that we've already talked about in the last few days. So, first of all, we recapped Real Housewives of Atlanta yesterday with our friends Layla Lynn and Grace Report. So if you missed that, be sure to check that out. We did a second live where I shared more of my thoughts, the after show that we did for Real Housewives of Atlanta. I shared more of my thoughts. We briefly talked about Porsha being on the Sherri Shepherd show. We'll talk more about that in a second. So if you missed any of that yesterday, it's worth going back and listening and watching that, okay? I also see that quite a few of my tweets got a lot of people in their feelings yesterday. Calm down. Look, someone was mad at me, like, if you had to watch this episode 4 times, I forgot what they said. It didn't make any kind of sense. If you had to watch it 4 times, maybe you shouldn't be recapping this show. I love how some people come to the internet thinking that they make sense when they don't make sense. First of all, there were quite a few people that said the same thing as me, and it felt the same way as me in regards to Sunday's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. We were like, we're confused. And the thing is, our confusion isn't necessarily because we can't comprehend what we're watching. Our confusion is because K. Michelle is not being clear, okay? She's not being clear. And we're like, huh? Wait a minute, what are we talking about? And we're also watching an edited show where context is important sometimes. So if we got to watch things multiple times, if anything, that makes me a better recapper than most, because I'm making sure, I'm like, wait, let me watch this again, because I'm not understanding. You know what I mean? But that's me. All right. Moving on. Exactly. Stay smiling all day says K. Michelle was confusing me, and I'm very intelligent. Look, I'm not going to even sit here and claim to be very intelligent, but I know that I am. And I'm like, my thing is, like I said before, I wasn't the only one. So many people in our chat, people in the comment section, like, I'm confused. Let me watch this again. Foxy says, so rude. People can be rude, but here's the thing. I can't do this job and not realize that people are going to have their opinions and share their opinions no matter, even if they're not sharing in a positive way or constructive way. I just ignore them. And then you get put on mute. So then I never, ever see you ever again. Okay? Millie, you've been a member for 24 months. Thank you so much. We were all confused. Yeah, it was a confusing episode. If anything, these cast of characters should be happy that I watched it multiple times trying to find some understanding. Some people are just going to watch it once and be like, I don't get it. What's wrong with them? I'm trying to give grace. Okay. Sunita said, the episode was very hard to follow. I feel like I have to watch it several times. You see, I'm not the only one. Okay. I'm not going to even repeat what you just said, Miss Parker. But thank you. Stay smiling all day said, that was probably K. Michelle who said it. Here's the thing. We were live on TikTok. I also did a TikTok recap. I was busy yesterday. I did a TikTok recap as well yesterday. And it felt like there were people K. Michelle trolls in there too, because they reported my live. I was like, what is going on right now? But anyway, it's still warm in here. Is this temperature not going down? Look. I'm just going, look. All right, let's move on. Anyway, so for those that may have missed it yesterday, I did recap Real Housewives of Atlanta multiple times yesterday. There's still some more Atlanta stuff that I want to get into. We won't just yet. In the City, you know that new show that's coming to Bravo that's a spinoff from Summer House? Well, they had their premiere party last night here in New York City, and people were surprised to see Amanda and Kyle taking pictures together. He's spoken out about it. Look, I find it so interesting how the Bravo universe can switch up on people on a dime. Because the amount of people I see in the comment section saying, oh my gosh, Kyle is so gracious and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying, because I've told you I've met Kyle before, and I was like, he really is a nice guy. Like anytime, and anyone I know that has met him has said the same thing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, compliment him for being gracious towards Amanda, especially with how this is all playing out. But I haven't forgotten, and this is someone that has not watched Summer House chapter and verse, but I know the stories. He's not innocent either here. He's cheated on her. He's been disrespectful for her in this last season. So excuse me if I'm not going to be like, oh my God, he is so gracious. Kyle is such a great guy. Oh my God. The Bravo universe, though, if you look at the comment section, the way they flip on a dime, because y'all did the same thing with Carl, too. Because I remember at one particular point, y'all hated Carl. And all of a sudden, Carl's such a great guy now, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, y'all really be switching up on people really quickly. But anyway, I've digressed. Shout out to our friends over at Reality Blurb. They write this in regards to the premiere. They said Summer House exes Amanda Butula and Kyle Cook appeared together on the red carpet at the premiere of In the City last night. While that alone is shocking, given Amanda's controversial romance with Wes Wilson, the two had their arms around each other as they posed for pictures. I mean, he's definitely been very protective of Amanda with all of this scandal that's been going on. He hasn't really thrown her under the bus. Wes was not at this premiere party. I mean, he's not on the cast, but he does make an appearance on In the City. I'm sure maybe he was invited, maybe not. I don't know. Millie said the Bravo universe needs to be studied. Honestly, you're right. From the looks of it, you wouldn't know the pair had a care in the world, as they looked happy to be around one another and almost looked like a happy couple in videos shared by ET Online. Amanda also posed with other cast members and appeared to be exceptionally happy to be there in a video shared by Bravo. She's happy to be anywhere. And we've said this before, I think Amanda Butula played the long game. And yes, could she just been really insecure and stayed in this toxic relationship because she has low self-esteem? Very possible. But some of you have also speculated that she stayed in this relationship so she could stay on this show. And now she's going from Summer House to this other show In the City that everyone's looking at like, I can't stand Bravo, because they continue to create shows here in New York City that do not reflect the masses. So I hope and pray a production company not associated with Bravo will create their own something in New York that is actually reflective of New York. And I'm not saying it's just black. There's Hispanic, there's Asian, there is white, of course. And those folks have a mix of friends. And yes, there are a couple of black men on this show. I mean, some of y'all couldn't tell, though. So that already tells you something. But anyway, I've digressed. So I won't be watching In the City because I'm really just not interested in watching this. I will continue to recap and talk about Summer House, especially with the reunion coming up. Foxy says Amanda is a snake. And Angel says that Amanda equals zero personality. Based on what I've seen of Amanda, I mean, she's a perfect fit for Wes because same, no personality. All right. Amanda posed with other cast members and appeared to be exceptionally happy to be there with videos shared by Bravo. And you can see different, I mean, she looks good though. Wes, interestingly, was absent according to Reality Blurb. They said recently Lindsay.
Went business slow. Ooh. Hank asked co-pilot in Excel
how
to help bring you back.
I'm sorry, all the little ads on here. Let me see if I can mute this. Hold on, let me mute this.
$1 slice.
There we go. Dear Lord. Ads, but I get it. You got to pay your bills over there, Reality Blurb. Recently, Lindsay Hubbard, who appeared on Summer House and In the City with Amanda, opened up about her plans to meet up with Amanda amid her scandalous relationship. Appearing on virtual reality, Lindsay shared that she has a lot of hopes and dreams regarding what she wants to say to Amanda. There's a lot to talk about, she continued. You know, there's the Sierra of it all. There's the West of it all. There's, our friendship, which is, by the way, bottom of the totem pole, is like me and all of this. But I guess I just want like a lot of like, why? Oh my goodness, this is how they speak, right? Lindsay also shared that she's hopeful the upcoming reunion will help clear some things up, but she remained uncertain if it had cleared everything up. She also, of course, here's the thing. They're intentionally going to drag this out because this is the most eyes that have been on Summer House. And now this new show, this spinoff In the City. So they're going to drag this out. So there'll be certain conversations that they're going to avoid having so that they can film it. But fine. She also opened up about In the City, explaining that she's hopeful people will still tune in given the current controversy. She says, what I guess is a little disappointing for me personally is I worked really hard for months and months and months with our casting director, with our executives, with Bravo to get this show up and running and to get all of our friends involved. Kyle and I have shared the same group of friends forever. That's how Summer House started, she elaborated. And that's the same with In the City. So there was a lot of work that was put in, and not just to get up and running, but while filming. We do have a lot of new people for the viewers, but they're old friends of Kyle and I. Like, there are some of my best friends. Look. Is Lindsay and Kyle from New York? Can y'all remind me? Just saying. Just asking. Look, and I'm not one of the people that say, I think if you've been here 10 plus years and they have been, you're officially a New Yorker. I just find their friend group if this is their friend group, to be very interesting. Interesting. Taurus Moon says, in the city will be one and done. I don't think so, because they have this controversy associated with it, and some of it will play out on In the City. I think they will at least get 2 seasons. And, you know, even if they didn't have this controversy, Bravo loves to give certain shows a little bit more opportunity to grow and evolve. But, you know. Then there's that, okay? Then there's that. All right. Guys, keep liking the video. Keep sharing the video. This is our Tuesday takeover. I just wanted to let you know there was the In the City premiere last night. I will be talking about the Summer House reunion. Maybe I will do like a separate live for just the Summer House reunion, so we can just focus on that. Depends on when it falls. Well, no, maybe we will, because Summer House comes on Tuesdays, right? So maybe on Wednesdays for the reunion, we'll talk about that. Speaking of the reunion, Andy did announce that the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion will be filming soon, so he's asking for your questions. What questions do you have for this cast? I have a lot of not expectations, but I'm very interested to see what the Rhode Island reunion will look like. I have a feeling, though, it's going to feel like Salt Lake City, where the season is fantastic, but the reunion might be lackluster, but we shall see. We shall see. One of the things that makes Potomac and Atlanta great is because they're able to deliver in real time. They're not so produced. And I feel like some of these other cities are very produced. That's why their reunions are so like, eh. But, you know, even in 2020, when we had that Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion remotely, they were iconic even remotely. You know what I mean? So we need to give Atlanta and Potomac their due. All right. So that was the update that I had in regards to Summer House and In the City and what's going on there. Let me look at my notes as I do this. Before we do that, Memorial Day is right around the corner, so our sponsor today's got a discount going on for you. Boll & Branch is sponsoring today's Tuesday Takeover. You guys are always complimenting me on my skin, and it's because I take care of my skin. But it's not just about diet. It's not just about the products that you use. But what about your bedding? What about the place that you spend probably most of your time where your skin is being touched by it? It's your sheets. And one of the things that I've invested in is quality sheets where I lay my head. Some people don't even think about this when it comes to their skincare. And your skincare is not just about your face, it's about your entire body. So I'm excited about Boll & Branch being a sponsor for today's live because they have quality sheets. Boll & Branch bedding, from their organic cotton sheets to their breathable pillows and comforters, is made with ultra clean materials that are gentle on the skin and free from harsh chemicals. Their fabrics are breathable, soft, and temperature regulating, so you're not overheating or tossing and turning. Because some of why you can't sleep at night is because of your sheets. When your entire bed is made with better materials, it supports the kind of sleep that actually helps your skin recover overnight. A lot of people start with the signature sheets and then add the matching pillowcases and a waffle blanket. I've been loving their sheets, their waffle blanket, but specifically, I forgot the color. I think it's like a taupe that I got. Oh, I'm loving it against my skin. I really am. Because the combination makes the whole bed feel softer and cooler. It's one of those upgrades where you notice the difference the very first night. But of course, as I said to you guys before, I've been trying it out for the last few nights, and I'm enjoying, first of all, it feels luxurious. Even the presentation on how they sent me the waffle sheet and the sheet set, I was like, okay, first of all, presentation is phenomenal. There are birthdays coming up. There are holidays coming up. This would be a fantastic gift to give to someone that you love, even yourself. And one of the things, and I've talked about this before, about pouring into yourself, it was just my birthday. Getting luxurious sheets, new sheets, fresh sheets on your bed that feel comfortable, that are, especially with how up and down the weather has been here in New York City, and I'm sure other cities where you guys are watching from, these sheets are perfect. They're cooling, they're comfortable, they're luxurious. Get into it. As always, you know there's a holiday coming up, and I've gotten you a discount. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping during the Memorial Day sale at bollandbranch.com/Kempire with code Kempire. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/Kempire with code Kempire to get 20% off. bollandbranch.com/Kempire. Code KEMPIRE. Exclusions apply. More information on Boll & Branch. Today's live sponsor will be available in the description. Thanks, Boll & Branch. Thanks to Boll & Branch for sponsoring today's Tuesday Takeover. As I said before, it's a great gift. Their presentation, when I got my sheets, I was like, oh, okay, what is this? Presentation for me is so important, but even the quality, when I took them out, I was live on TikTok when I was opening it, and I was like, these are really, really great. Really, really great. And I love a good sheets. I'm just saying, but that's me. More information on Boll & Branch will be available in the description. I was just saving some of your comments. You guys have some questions for the reunion. Way of Keith says, my question for the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion, my question is to Rula, is a piece of man better than no man? That's actually a really good question, Keith. Maybe you should send that in. Look, Quad mother says that my question is Kelsey's life even real? She's coming off very rehearsed. We're going to talk about that when we talk about Rhode Island. Kai, thank you so much. Kai says the Zoom Atlanta reunion for season 12 was so damn iconic. It really was. Like, part of me was like, just talking about it makes me want to go back and rewatch it. Lonnie, but part of me doesn't want to be reminded of the pandemic, but anyway. Lonnie says, enjoyed the after show, our after show that we did, guys, yesterday. The whole bath conversation. We went on a whole tangent about a whole bath. So if you missed it yesterday, you missed a lot. Robert says, tomorrow's my birthday. Happy birthday, Robert. Happy birthday. And tomorrow's the official last day of tour season, right? Cindy says, oh, those look amazing in regards to the Boll & Branch sheets. Yes. All right, y'all. All right. Kendra says, I saw a picture of the mistress. Me too. I saw a picture. Finally saw a picture of the mistress. Rula should be offended because that lady is not cute. Okay, we probably saw different pictures because I have to say, not to say that she was cute, but I didn't think she was ugly. I definitely think, especially for Brian, I don't think she was ugly. I think of the everyone involved, Rula and the mistress, y'all could do better. But we'll talk about that one in a second. Let me focus. Has anyone noticed? Okay, a couple of things. And I'll be adding the timestamps later when I remember. I have meetings later too. A couple of things. J-Lo's back outside, y'all. I know she never left outside, but she's back outside. There is a video footage of Jennifer Lopez waiting for people to disperse in front. I guess it's in front of her hotel or whatever it may be. You literally see the camera footage. Have you guys seen this? Let me know if you've seen it in the chat. You literally see her waiting in the lobby towards the back, waiting to make her exit. It's so weird and awkward. But you see everyone, she's waiting for everyone to clear the way, meaning like, people that are coming through the entrance, her people, things like that. Then all of a sudden you see Jennifer Lopez, they clear the way. Jennifer is still there posing. She's such a Leo. This is coming from someone with the Leo moon. Shut up. This weekend I did my friend's astrological birth chart too. He has a Leo moon as well. Isn't that funny? Anyway, focus. So she's waiting. Did you guys see this video footage? Millie says J-Lo also needs to be studied. So J-Lo is just waiting so she can have her moment, and she comes out, and so she's like posing. Like her walk too is just like so Leo. Here's my thing with J-Lo. I've always liked Jennifer Lopez. Before the takedown of Jennifer Lopez has been happening the last couple of years, I've always thought she was like very likable. But I also said to you, after the Ben Affleck of it all, the Bennifer 2.0, I said she should take a break from the public eye. Let people miss her. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of Jennifer Lopez's things, the things that she's been trying to push, her performances, her concerts, her act, have fallen short. I think the audience needs a break from Jennifer Lopez, and it would be good for her as well. Austin says, I seen the video of J-Lo, and I can't with her. It was so, I cringed for her. I really did. But I was like, all right, Jennifer, you need this. You need this. Shadrika says, I want to be as delusional as J-Lo. And look, you really should be. There are a lot of people that, because they're so delusional, they've created a life for themselves because of that level of delusion. Let's talk about manifestation. That's how you manifest. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of delulu. All right? Foxy says, J-Lo looks amazing, though. She does. I'm never going to take that away from her. She looks amazing. She's able to still, kill those dance moves and whatnot. She has a new romantic comedy that's coming out. I mean, I just found that part to be so funny because it was so obvious, like she's going to have this moment. And look, the photographers eat it up. This is how they make their money. So I'm not going to even be mad at that. They're going to get a photo of J-Lo and they're going to make their money. She looked amazing too. Go Google schmoogle the video, y'all. Oh, anyway, I say that to say, speaking of someone else that I think loves the attention, has anyone else noticed that Taylor Swift is back outside? Have you guys noticed that? Taylor Swift is back outside, and I was like, wait a second, where's Taylor Swift been? Her and Travis Kelce, I don't believe that that's a real relationship. I know they're engaged. I don't care. But part of me was, who was you? And then when that man said it, Lord, to Jennifer Lopez. So Taylor Swift is back outside, and it's so interesting that, the mobs are out there in regards to like, oh my God, it's Taylor Swift, for the photographers and things. And I was like, this is so strategic. This is so strategic. Jody says, can you show the video? I don't have the video because I didn't even plan to talk about it during our Tuesday Takeover. Do you see why Tuesday Takeover is such an undertaking? There's so many elements and videos and pictures and things that I have to add. But I didn't even think about it until now. But so I said it's better for me to talk about it than forget about it altogether. Anyway, back to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have been photographed like everywhere in the last a few days. When I was on my birthday trip, I started seeing more and more footage of them. And I was like, I haven't seen Taylor Swift out and about in a long time. And I said, she must have something coming. Or maybe it's because no one's been talking about her in this relationship for a very long time. I was like, okay, well, she's back outside. So I said, something's coming. Something's coming. Or maybe she decided to keep a low profile because of the Blake Lively of it all. And they recently reached a settlement agreement between Blake and Justin Baldoni. So maybe she now feels it's safe to kind of shift the focus from this lawsuit and her association with Blake. Have Blake and Taylor's friendship ended? Because I haven't seen them together. I thought that was interesting. Millie says, I still haven't listened to a single Taylor Swift song. Here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm not going to sit here and act as if I don't like certain songs from Taylor Swift over the years. I can't say that I've been into any of her music recently, but I'm not a Swiftie, but I haven't even listened to the last couple of projects. Speaking of projects, speaking of oversaturation, look, Drake released 3 albums last week. He released 3 albums last week. I think that's a bit much. I'm not saying, I think he's an amazing artist. I like some of his music as well. But 3, I remember a while back that Chris Brown released like this 2 disc project, and I said it's too much. And ever since then, I've sort of been just like, I'll hear a song or 2 from Chris Brown, but the oversaturation sometimes of the music, 3 albums, I'm not listening to all of that because now I'm overwhelmed. Okay, now I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, now I don't even want to listen to one song. I mean, I get it. We are a society where we love a lot of content and things like that. I just feel like that's way too much. 3 albums, and he's very talented. But remember I said before, after the whole Like Us situation, I said that Drake should just take a break. This is not what I was asking for. I said he should have taken a break and then maybe came out with an R&B project in a couple of years. It's just oversaturation. And it says a lot about someone's ego. And I think his ego, I know his ego was hurt after Kendrick Lamar and what Kendrick was able to do with his diss track and turn that into actual commercial success. But 3 albums, that's a lot. Did you guys listen to it? I'm overwhelmed. I said, I can't. I didn't even listen to one song. I said, I'm overwhelmed. It's too much. Exactly. Zilly says quantity over quality. That's what it is nowadays. I remember a time, look, I'm the old fogey over here. I remember a time when artists like Janet Jackson, who recently celebrated her 60th birthday. Happy birthday, Janet. Happy birthday, Candy. Happy birthday, who else? Oh, Grace Jones. I remember a time, Brandy, they would take 3, 4, 5 years before releasing their next project. Okay? Raven says the reviews are not good. Did you guys see Pitchfork's review of Chris Brown's album? They basically said it was crap. and gave it one sentence. I was like, ooh. And Chris Brown basically said, this album is not for you. It's for my fans. Okay. All right. Look, I haven't even listened to the Chris Brown project. Not really interested. You know what album I've been listening to? Kalani, a fellow Taurus. I've been listening to Kalani's new project. Her album is good. I don't care what. If y'all haven't listened to Kalani's new album, go listen to Kalani's new album. It's good. All right? Tammy says, I've just downloaded Iceman. Have not heard it yet. Well, can you report back? Can you report back and let us know if it's worth listening to? It's just a lot. Anyway, I've digressed. So this all led from me talking about Taylor Swift, and I feel like something's coming from Taylor Swift. All right? Well, damn. Shadrika says out of the 3 albums, there's like 5 good songs, so that's sad. Because that's a lot. Because you know what it is? When I talk about those artists, like people like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Brandy, all these folks, do you know how many songs they would record? They would record like 40, 50, 80 songs for one project. And I feel like that's what Drake probably did. He probably recorded like 80 songs. And he's like, you know what I'm going to put out? I'm going to put out 3 albums. Okay. Is he trying to get out of a deal or something? Is he trying to get out of his deal with whatever label he's with? Because I know he has his own label, but he has the bigger label. Is this to complete a deal? Jermaine says all Drake's songs probably sound the same on those 3 albums. Probably. Look, not for me. Jermaine says, I miss the old Drake. I think Drake needs to do another like R&B project. Is it like that? Is there a theme for each album? Is like one of those albums R&B? Or no? Anyway, I've digressed. I will add timestamps later. Guys, if you're just joining us, this is our Tuesday Takeover. We're almost at 300 likes. Be sure to like today's video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. All right. Oh, damn. Esoteric Traveler says all 3 albums are trash. All right. Anyway. All right. Have you guys seen the Jay Shetty interview with Hayden Panettiere? I'm probably mispronouncing her last name, but you remember she was on Heroes. She was on Nashville. Diana Jenkins recently came out because everyone's accusing her of being the woman that allured Hayden and put Hayden into bed with a very well-known celebrity. Hayden told this story on the Jay Shetty podcast. Diane Jenkins is suing everybody that's trying to make association. She denies that she is the person that did that. Okay? So more things are coming out of Hayden's new memoir. Hayden Panettiere says an Oscar-winning actor and director showed her his testicles without consent when she was just a teenager. The actress has opened up about a ton of stomach-churning stories in her new memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, about the abuse she suffered while coming of age in Hollywood. And she's now relaying a tale about a party she attended when she was just 19 years old. Hayden says that she was leaving a gathering, having grown uncomfortable while chatting with a group of men near the end of the night, when a well-respected Oscar winner approached her as she was putting on a coat and complained about the gum stuck to his pants. Hayden writes that she looked down, but instead of gum, she found herself staring at the star's sack, a sight at which she instantly recoiled. Hayden calls the moment a head scratcher, adding, "It hadn't hurt me, and I was sure it was a drunken joke, but I'd never seen a grown man do something like that. I was shocked." She says that she didn't tell any of her friends at the time because the moment had passed, and she just felt some people had grown up without learning proper manners. This Is Me is a full of harrowing stories from Hayden being essentially pushed into bed with a unclothed man on a yacht when she was 18 to her recollections of nearly dying during a childbirth. As TMZ mentioned, the book is available now, so get yourself a copy to read all of these and much, much more. That woman has been through a lot. Growing up in Hollywood, it's very clear that she had some issues in regards to that. Didn't she lose custody of her kids and things like that as well? Of her kid? Like, she's been through a lot. She's definitely been through a lot. And there's so many other stories that TMZ has in regards to, other people, other stories from this book. Her new book, This Is Me, A Reckoning, is available now. Okay. If you're looking for something light to read other than this, I've mentioned this before. If you're part of our Kempire's Inner Circle mailing list, I mentioned that Garcelle has a new book, Protecting My Peace at All Costs. If you're looking for something, first of all, Garcelle is pleasant to listen to, but her story about protecting her peace, she does talk a little bit about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But if you're looking for something that's going to give you a little hope and relatability, go take a listen to that book. That's an Audible exclusive. You can get it right now. Okay? All right. This is the cover of Hayden's new book. This is Hayden. All right? Taurus Moon, you're requiring a lot. If I don't show a picture, I wish you luck. Okay? You can Google Schmoogle like everyone else. Y'all gonna make me get rid of Tuesday Takeover. And y'all can blame Taurus Moon for it. Because y'all don't even realize how much work it takes to put together a Tuesday Takeover. I could just come up here and just do a pre-recorded recap of Real Housewives of Rhode Island and call it a day. So if I don't do Tuesday Takeover anymore, blame Taurus Moon. Lord have mercy. Moving on. Moving on. All right, so one of the stories that I covered the other day was about Real Housewives of Potomac star Wendy Asefo, because you may have seen a couple of different stories in regard to, okay, can someone do me a favor? Mods, mute said person, please. Mute them. The next thing, you're going to get blocked. Lord have mercy. All right. Anyway, back to this. We got a new sound by Funky. Kempire, and this fairy sound makes me laugh every time. Lord. Right, exactly. Cindy says, not a Taurus taking down Tuesday Takeover. It's about to be. Lord. Melissa says, who is y'all? Some of us are just listening while working. Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate you. Melissa's watching on Facebook or listening on Facebook. All right, let me get back to this. So over the weekend, I did a story talking about Wendy Asefo. Shout out to our friends over at What Else Is Going On podcast, Taria Faison. She had some exclusive information in regards to what was going on over there during filming for Real Housewives of Potomac. So one of the things she reported is that they took a trip to Beverly Beach. And apparently, allegedly, Wendy was basically blaming Eddie for the criminal stuff that they're going through. Tomorrow is supposed to be a hearing. Taria is going to be there. And as I mentioned to you guys before, that what we've been doing every time she goes to the courthouse, that evening we do an Instagram Live. So if you want to get a full report and some of the questions answered, Taria will be on my Instagram tomorrow if there's still a hearing. Apparently there is a hearing. Apparently they have assigned a judge. We're just waiting to see if there's a courtroom. So stay tuned. All right. Lipstick Leah says Taurus on Taurus violence. You don't want to mess with this Taurus. I got a Leo moon and Cancer rising. All right. So that's one of the things that she mentioned is that Wendy allegedly during this group trip is putting the blame on Eddie. So a lot of people speculated when they separated their cases a couple of months ago. A lot of people speculated that, is Eddie going to take the brunt of this situation? I don't know if that could work for Wendy unless they're offering her some sort of plea deal. We're going to have to wait and see. Maybe we'll have a clearer picture tomorrow. But our friends over Reality Blurb also had an exclusive because there was a rumor out there that Wendy had stopped filming because allegedly Giselle had called her out for lying. So taping for the Real Housewives of Potomac 11 seasons has been underway over a month now. A recent rumor began circulating on the internet that Wendy Asefo had stopped filming after Giselle Bryant caught her in a lie. Specifically, Mary Cosby fan on X, who has broken a number of Real Housewives news exclusives, stories, shared the alleged tea and noted that the scoop was alleged and should be taken with a grain of salt. Allegedly, Wendy Asefo has taken a break from filming after Giselle caught her in a lie about her case. Sources tell me that Wendy will be back to filming. All right, so then they continue. They said an insider exclusively spilled to Reality Blurb that the rumor is completely false. I don't see Wendy stopping to film. I've already said this countless times. I would have been shocked if Wendy did not film, especially with the way that she handled the reunion. She handled the reunion really well, despite a lot of people having concerns of her doing it. So and plus they need the money. And they're going to need the money. They're going to need this check because if Eddie is convicted, I think Happy Eddie is done. And he definitely can't be a lawyer if he's convicted. So I don't know. I just don't know. Big Miss Muffin celebrating 38 months of membership. Thank you so much. Stopping by to say, hey, y'all, please keep Tuesday Takeover. Much love, Kempire. Thank you, Big. Look, the majority have been asking for Tuesday Takeover, but you also understand that there are going to be limits to what I normally do for Tuesday Takeover. It's a lot. It's a big undertaking. You got to gather the stories. You got to gather the images. You got to know what you're talking about. There's a lot of stuff. There's video sometimes footage that we include. Then there's sponsors that we have to include. So it's a lot of work. So when you come up in here requesting, can we see a picture? Can we? Real? You have Google, okay? If you don't know what we're talking about, just move on from the story because obviously then you probably don't care, okay? Anyway, let's focus. All right. So they're saying that the rumor that Wendy stopped filming is not true. There's a rumor that Wendy is blaming Eddie for it all. We will have to wait and see whether or not any of this is true or how this will play out during the season. Are you guys excited for this new season? Word on the street, too, according to Taria, Monique is filming, and apparently Monique and Wendy are getting into it during the season. Okay. Did you also see the interview that Stacey Rush did where she said, she said that Giselle's a good mother, but she's an evil person? She's an evil person. I know that's right. Angel says, rather than complaining or demanding, maybe you should volunteer your services as an intern for the LLC. Just saying. Austin is asking, is Karen filming? I hope not. She still needs to be recovering. No, she's filming. She's definitely filming. We saw her at the game, the first group event. We saw her take a picture with Stacey Rush. So she's definitely filming. Yeah, she needs that check too. If she's gonna leave Ray. All right. All right. So I wanted to update you guys on that since it is Tuesday Takeover. All right. Let me get to some of these other stories that I wanted to talk about before we get to Real Housewives of Rhode Island. We are going to recap it and talk about that. I will be adding the timestamps later, so please be patient because look, as Angel just said, we need interns to do the timestamps because if we had the intern doing the timestamps, then y'all get it right after the live. But here we are. All right. Let me get into this because yesterday I mentioned to you guys during the after show that Pinky and Angela were responding to the episode, the Real Housewives of Atlanta episode, that a lot of people were like, what is going on here? I'm confused. All right. So shout out to our friends over at No Chaser TV, where I'm getting these tweets from. Pinky, in one of her tweets in response to the episode, she says, I'm just glad this week ain't about me. Tequila, anyone? Because she was sick during this week's episode. Pinky, I have to say, some people don't like her. I like her. I think she's good for the show. She's probably one of the only people that has a real storyline and willing to talk about that storyline. So I'm here for it. So Pinky said, I'm just happy this week ain't about me. All right. Angela Oakley reposts someone that says, I can say everything I think about you, but I need some water. That was a quote from Angela from the episode. The woman that you are, they say Angela Oakley. She reposts it, Angela, and says, I wanted to get her so bad. Well, look, Angela, after you got Pinky together, you're good for the rest of the season. If Angela doesn't bring anything for the rest of the season, I'm okay with it. Sidebar, if you follow me on X, I reposted this video, and if you follow my short recap, I posted here on YouTube too. I included the clip. Y'all see when Kay starts crying at the breakfast table? Did y'all pay attention to Angela's reaction? Angela just shakes her head and bows her head. And I was like, oh, we didn't talk about it, but I remember seeing it. And then I saw someone post the clip, and I was like, oh my God, that was such a funny moment. Because even Angela's like, I can't. Why are we bawling right now? And we still don't know why she was bawling the way she was bawling. I do see some mixed reactions to people saying why people are acting like they don't understand why K. Michelle would feel sensitive about someone talking about her private areas not smelling good. We will understand that, but what we don't understand is whether or not that is what was coming. We don't know. We don't know. All right. So Drew Sidora said on social media, it's interesting how Shamia can insert herself in everybody else's arguments or beef, but suddenly feels away when Angela gives her opinion. Angela reposts this and says, didn't she tell K. Michelle, and I do think she's messy. Seems like she spoke about me before. Deflection is real. Speaking of Shamia, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. Shamia was on Watch What Happens Live on Sunday and spoke about her relationship with Porsha. So I want to play this clip of what she had to say about their friendship. Hold on.
Need 205 on Thread said, seeing you and Porsha together without any interaction is so tough because I really miss seeing your friendship. Do you really feel like things are beyond repair?
I'm actually really happy with the space that Porsha and I are in right now. We're able to coexist, and I would like it if we can continue to keep people out of our stuff. And whatever happens, happens.
Here's the thing. I don't blame people bringing up whatever is happening between her and Porsha because it's sort of like the elephant in the room. We never got any, the audience hasn't gotten resolution. I'm sure the group hasn't gotten any resolution. She knows how the rest of the season goes. You remember what Porsha said on the Carlos King interview, that there's more to come, that there's other things that happen between her and Shamia. So I have to, she's taking the diplomatic route here.
I'm going to force it. I don't expect her to. Let's just see what happens.
Okay. What else did Shamia say on Watch What Happens Live?
This was a wild episode.
Yeah.
Between Drew, Porsha, and Phaedra, do you believe any of them were plotting behind K. Michelle's back?
I can't really speak to that, but what I do know is it was a little bit awkward for them to speak about vaginas when eating oysters.
Okay.
What's oysters? Oysters? Okay.
Or char-grilled. I've never thought about a vagina while eating an oyster.
Look, as a gay man, not that I've thought about that while eating oysters because I don't eat oysters, but I wasn't completely like I've never seen people do that before. But look, I don't know.
Now you never will not.
Yeah, right.
You know?
What did you make of the other ladies feeling like you were the one that was fueling K. Michelle's?
For me, it feels like history repeating itself from last year.
Okay.
Like, just, Shamia is a good fall person. Let's put it on her. I mean, you sat and said, I'm instigating stuff, and the girl is simply telling you, I haven't told her anything. She's telling me the things that she feels. I'm just being a friend and listening and keeping her secret.
Your take on Drew arriving at 10:30 to the event as you were leaving?
Well, maybe she was a part of the cleanup crew.
Okay. I said this before, I'll say it again. I think Shamia should have let this Drew situation go. It did not end well for Shamia last season, but she continues to harp on the Drew of it all. I'm not saying that she has to like Drew, but her to continue to harp on this is not working out well for you. Let it go. Well, since she talked a little bit about Drew showing up late, Cynthia Bailey was on the Viall Files, and she opened up about Drew not showing up on time for this. Drew, first of all, did look amazing. Do you guys remember what Drew had on? I mean, she finally did make it at the end, and I do think that was quite disrespectful. But anyway, this is what Cynthia had to say on the Viall Files.
I don't think Drew set out to be intentionally late.
Okay.
You know, Drew has always been super supportive of all of my events. She always shows up for me. She always supports me. To be completely honest, because if you guys think back in the episode, when it was time to start getting dressed, Shamia called a meeting. So one of the reasons why.
Sidebar though, she called the meeting, yes, and everybody were like, this is not the time to call a meeting, but everyone still made it. Everyone else was able to get it together.
I was super quiet and kind of stressed out because the entire time Shamia's meeting was going on, I knew it was eating into our time to get ready. And, with that said, I knew, it just takes some women longer than others. And to be completely transparent, because I'd love to just.
But again, everybody else was able to get ready and dressed and there for this event, except Drew. And look, we've seen a pattern. If this was the first time this happened, then I'd be like, oh, it's the first time. Let's give grace. However, this is not the first time that Drew has been late. There have been multiple times over the last couple of seasons that she's been late.
Fourth wall at this point. We were having some glam issues. Glam was doubling up, trying to do the girls. They had a theme. It wasn't like they could throw on a baseball cap and come to the event. It was a whole Dallas Dynasty theme. So it just took some time. And Drew's glam was held up actually in my room for a little bit because I was filming something else. And it's a whole thing. She didn't intentionally try to be late, and she has apologized for it, which I'm totally fine with.
Okay. As long as Cynthia's okay with it. And look, at the end of the day, even though it took her forever to get dressed, at least she didn't come there looking a mess. You know what I mean? You could have, when you look at some of the other people that ended up going, like Shamia, maybe she should have taken more time. Maybe she should have taken more time. Wait, let me not be, because some people yesterday said I was too hard on Shamia. I'm not going to stop. Look, I'm going to continue to share my opinion. All right.
You guys are cool.
I'm totally fine.
So where do you land on the K Michelle side of things?
In terms of what?
What she's upset about? Like she thinks that all the people.
Plot.
Yeah. Do you believe that there's a plot, or do you think it's more in her head?
Well, I'm going to always validate how she feels. She obviously can.
She gonna get the PC answer. Quad Mother says Drew. Hold on, Drew is just late. Let's call the thing a thing. I agree, because this is not the first time that she's been late. Wave Key says they were held up, but her makeup was getting done before they even left. Yeah, that's when she said she had a headache. Back to the K Michelle part of this Vile File interview that Cynthia did.
Feel how she wants to feel. I would never invalidate that. However, the one thing I can say is I'm not a part of any kind of plot or scheme
We know you're not.
As it relates to K Michelle. I love Kay on this show. I was excited for her to be a part of this cast. I still think, we're only, 7 episodes in? Like, you guys are still going to see a lot of Kay. We still have a lot of episodes to go. But at this point, I just was concerned, and we all were concerned that she was upset. And we're just, we were just trying to figure out what is the plot? Like, what is it that she's been told that we don't know about?
So they were also confused? So not only was the audience confused, the cast themselves were confused.
I know I'm not a part of it, for sure.
Cynthia, going back to Kay and Porsha, why do you think Kay...
That was a very diplomatic answer that Cynthia gave. Because Cynthia probably in her head and her heart of hearts wants to say, I don't think there was a plot or a plan.
Felt so unsupported by Porsha, given that Porsha brought her into the group.
I don't know. And I'm looking forward to us getting more to the bottom of that, as the episodes go on. Are you guys kind of seeing how all of that plays out? But I will say that from what I have seen, Porsha has, first of all, I know she was very excited for Kay to come on the show as well as I was. And, I've seen her really make a real effort to be friends with Kay. Like, she was very excited to bring Kay into the circle. So I don't know where it kind of went left, but it's unfortunate because I
think it went left in K Michelle's head. I really do. And look, y'all know I'm not a Porsha stan or Porsha defender. I think it went left in K Michelle's head.
Have known Porsha for a really long time, and I'm just really getting to know Kay. And if Porsha doesn't want to deal with you. She's just not going to deal with you. So I feel like if she's making an effort to show you love and give you love and support, like even when, Kay started crying, we were all like sitting there with her. Porsha was like, who is it? Even if it's me, tell me, what can I do? I want to address it, whatever. Like Porsha was really overextending herself and trying to, help Kay get to the bottom of it.
We all were trying to get to the bottom of it, and we still haven't. All right. Let me move on from that particular story. Since we're talking about Porsha, Porsha was on the Sherri Shepherd show, and she talks more about stuff with, she talks Drew versus K. Michelle, and talks about Kelli Farrell. Before we get to that, Kelli Farrell was being slammed on social media for her new confessional look. Hold on, where is it? Where's her confession? So this is Kelli Farrell's new confessional look, which looks like a white T-shirt. So she's addressing it because Dodger Blue on X says, "Is this B word in a plain white tee?" And she posts a couple of pictures of the full outfit, which looks like a plain white tee. You see like the tube socks that she has on in heels. Look, at the end of the day, Kelli just is not a fashionista. It's so crazy to me that her stylist is now dressing all the other girls, including Porsha, on this show, including Porsha's look on the Sherri Shepherd show. I'm just like, ugh. I mean, she's not the best dressed, okay? I mean, she looks cute here, a little Facetune cleaned up a little bit. Okay, she looks cute in these pictures. So she posts in the caption, she says, "Today's mood. T-shirt equals I'm casual. Big hair equals but not that casual. Makeup equals a little glamorous." Then she puts the cheers emoji and says, "Now we're discussing everyone's business. Cheers. Side note, my confessional look was never a T-shirt, laughing out loud, but it was a look that I was just no longer in the mood for. Fun fact, yes, I wear heels with everything." Okay, Kelli. All right. Anyway, on Sherri Shepherd show. Sherri Shepherd show is coming to an end, guys, this month. Sorry, but she's booked and busy. She's got other things that's coming up. So this is what Porsha had to say on the Sherri Shepherd show in regards to what's been playing out during this season. Shout out to our friends over at No Chaser TV for the clip.
I got to talk housewives with you.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Now, it was a few weeks ago that K. Michelle was here. And when I tell you, I was on the floor because she was throwing shade left and right at cast member Drew Sidor. Okay, so do you think that I couldn't even get off the floor. It was so much.
Girl, I was dying. I live for that.
So, did K. Michelle, you think did she go too far or not far enough? How you feel about that?
I think they both have jumped off the cliff together.
Really?
They're not friends, or they would have jumped holding hands. But they have both jumped off that cliff. It is up and stuck.
Yes.
Yes, and but
I don't know if you guys saw this interview. I have to say, Porsha, she's a good representative, a good mascot, dare I say, for Bravo and Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's really been handling these interviews really well. But what stood out to me, and this is not me hating on Porsha, because the Porsha stands like, you hating on Porsha, you never liked Porsha. One minute I hate Porsha, the next minute I'm standing Porsha. I can't. It can't win. What I will say, though, especially, and it could be because Sherri Shepherd isn't that great as an interviewer. Just saying. Because I remember when the girls used to go on the Wendy Williams show, and they would do these interviews like a Nene Leakes, like a Kenya Moore. And I could rewatch those clips right now and be entertained. And look, maybe it's Sherri's fault that the interview feels just a little too robotic. It feels a little too like it's just a PR interview. There really isn't anything funny or memorable about the conversation. And again, that could be because of the interviewer. I don't know. Maybe.
Like that sometimes. You're not going to like everybody on the cast. Right. Drew is absolutely amazing star. K. Michelle has joined the show and shook it up like she shake them tables.
Yes.
And, one thing about it, I think that a lot of people who haven't done reality TV before come on and they're being thirsty, but these girls are being spicy, our new girls. They're not thirsty, they're spicy. Because they're already established. They're already that girl.
Yeah.
You see how she's handling this? She's still promoting, despite having those issues and clapping back at K. Michelle over the weekend. Porsha is still giving credit to K. Michelle. She's still giving credit to the girl. She's still helping promote the show. I have to give it to her. She's very good at handling it.
That girl, she's a business entrepreneur, has done everything and made millions and millions. And then you have K. Michelle, who's established singer, country singer, groundbreaker. So I'm glad that we have some real heavy hitters now on the show.
Well, you got the heavy hitters, and it's interesting because they did let me know. We don't, they're spicy.
Yeah.
But, it is very spicy because I know that the fellow housewife, Kelli Farrell, she's been throwing accusations that you've been sleeping with married men. Now, is that spicy or is that a major issue?
I mean, she is just like dragging tea from like 4 years ago. Like, one thing I can say, again, going back to some of the new...
Is it just tea, or is it actually a rumor, or is it true? The way she kind of says she's dragging tea. Just asking.
Girls, going back to Angela Oakley, who's joined the show. This show is about showing black women who are established, who have a wonderful life, fulfilled life in themselves, so they don't have to focus on other people. If they end up focusing on you, they're gonna read you, right? But they're not making me their storyline. Those women, you pay attention to them, they got it going on. They got businesses, they got husbands, they got things. And I just think it's very unfortunate when some of the girls come on the show and they have to kind of search and reach. And I mean, she's always reaching for other reasons, but, just...
Is that reaching?
Just reaching. And she can't quite get it.
Can't quite get the verse.
Who even handed her the peach?
I
don't know. But listen.
Do you guys think that Kelli will come back next season? Remember, Kelli and Drew were the only ones so far this season that have missed complete episodes, and a lot of people speculate that they could be on the chopping block for next season. I don't know.
Kelli, sometimes she's cool, sometimes she's not. I think that if you can dish it out, you should be able to receive it back to you.
Yes.
And you should be able to move on. I think it is very clear
Roots to Tressa says, do you think she responded, meaning Porsha, this way because this was recorded a couple of weeks ago? No, I think Portia's still not going to throw K. Michelle under the bus. Even, remember, she sort of put it out there during her Carlos King interview, which was done even before this interview. So I think she knows how to play this game. She's going to be diplomatic. Very, very same way that she was diplomatic when Nene returned for Ultimate Girls Trip. Do I think those two like each other? No. Do I know for a fact? Well, no.
I had to come in hot, and I just cooled her down.
Not cooled her down. Lord have mercy. All right. This is going to be a very interesting season and reunion. We're not even halfway through the season of Housewives of Atlanta. We're not even halfway through. So if you want to see the full interview with Porsha on the Sherri Shepherd Show, you can watch that on their YouTube channel right now. I just wanted to play that clip for you. How are you guys feeling about the beef between Kelli and Porsha? Is that even interesting to you? I don't know. You know why it's probably not interesting to me is because Porsha has not been able to give me like a solid story or actual proof that this really happened. I'm not saying that it didn't happen with Kelli because I don't put anything past anyone, but she hasn't convinced me when she's retelling the story. And then she brings up this whole, I was giving myself a whole bath in front of these women, and she looked at it and she was like, I want some of that. And it kind of reminded me of what she accused Kandi of, only for that to be thrown back in her face as a lie. So it's not landing. It's not landing. Jermaine says not a major beef. Chris says it's a very boring beef. Yeah, I'm not really interested in whatever is happening there. Way of Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Way of Keith says, personally, I feel like the cast is using Shamia as the scapegoat. Leaving it to them, she's the reason why children are starving across the world. I can see that, but she makes it too easy for them. Don't you have to say, like, I'm not saying that Shamia is the evil one, or the only evil person in this group. But I think she makes it way too easy for them. I don't think she's navigating this well. Hey, Rita, thank you so much for the super chat. Rita says, late to the party, sorry, it's okay. My good news is that clear scans, love hearing that, Rita. Love hearing that, Rita. Rita, did you see, wait, maybe I shouldn't say it. Never mind. Look, everybody, but your birthday already passed, right, Rita? Your birthday already passed. So you saw my cameo. You saw my cameo. I hope you had a fantastic birthday, Rita. And I got my birthday gift, so thank you so much for that. OMG Steph, thank you so much for the super chat. OMG Steph says, Carlos King said that he knows something was said to Kay, but she messed up by not letting it play out because now the audience is confused. So Kay is not paranoid, maybe. But I said that yesterday. I said that during my recap. I said, I don't put anything past any of the housewives being calculated in doing something, but she should have let it play out so she doesn't look crazy on this show. And now look, she looks nutty. But I do believe that she's dragging it with Drew because she was already saying like, oh, she did the finger thing and she's trying to associate me with Black, but she really didn't do that. You did that yourself. You're waving to him in the FaceTime like you know him. So Drew has been vindicated. Okay, just saying. Shadrika, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Shadrika says, what annoys me about Drew is that she will not share her real life. You would think Drew is Beyonce or something. Either she shares the real or she can go. I have to agree with that. But I think part of the reason why she doesn't want to share the real is because the real will trigger Ralph to get on the internet or to try and be on this show. And I think that's what she's doing. But I have to agree with you. This season with the whole Black of it all, I don't care. I really don't care. But all right, moving on. Can we talk about, before we get to Real Housewives of Rhode Island, I want to say, first of all, thank you to our sponsor, Hulu. Real talk. You live for reality TV. Every time it gets crazy, gets juicy, gets dramatic, and completely irresistible. And lucky for you, Hulu on Disney Plus does too, with the most unhinged and unmatched library of shows. Period. Turn on larger-than-life docusoaps like Season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the hit new series Love Thy Nader, featuring superstar model Brooks Nader and her sisters. Obsess over the seasons of iconic dating shows like Love Island UK and Farmer Wants a Wife. Get hooked on irresistible food competitions like MasterChef. Dive into hit game shows like Celebrity Family Feud. And revel in show-stopping fashion competitions, including the one and only Project Runway. Whatever it is you're into, Hulu has it all. No filler, no fluff, just thousands of episodes of the very best in reality TV every single day. Because Hulu gets real. Stream now on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. And we're back. Thank you, Easter. Easter says, my boy doing commercials. Okay. Shout out to all the sponsors. We appreciate them. You know I love me some Hulu. You know what I'm currently watching on Hulu? I'm watching The Testaments. If you guys are not getting into The Testaments, you should. It's such a good show on Hulu. But that's just me. All right, moving on. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. It's a warm, hot day here in New York City, so make sure you're staying hydrated and staying cool, which reminds me, let me take a sip. And don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote. There are elections, local elections happening today. All right? All right, let's get into this other story. Speaking of, since you were talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, I do want to briefly talk about Humble Brag. You know, I love the Humble Brag podcast. I don't love when they have guests, but this was actually a really good interview with Camille Grammer from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And Camille talked about a bunch of different things on this episode, including Kelsey Grammer and how he did her. Oh my goodness. Y'all know, you already knew the story because some of this already played out on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on how he did her. He basically put her on this show so that he can go be with his mistress that he's still married to today. Anyway, so she talks about that in this new Humble Brag interview. She also talks about her time on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And it's always interesting to see the housewives, you know, Cynthia and Crystal talk about their experience, but we also get to hear Camille's experience. And some of us have always said, bring Camille back. And Camille has come back as a friend of before. She's had guest appearances. Even Crystal said, you know, getting Camille Grammer on this show was a get for the network because she really is in these circles in California, in Hollywood. So they talk a little bit, they talk about that time. They talk about Morocco. She is saying what Vicky Gunvalson has said about Morocco. Because, you know, Morocco, the Ultimate Girls Trip that they filmed, we will probably never see the light of day because, you know, there's lawsuits. Caroline Manzo is suing the network. Brandy Glanville will no longer work with the network. So she talked about that on there as well. And she says, you know, she didn't see anything wrong with what happened in Morocco. She said they had a lot of fun. There was a lot of emotional stuff. She did emphasize, though, that she was not in the bathroom with whatever happened between Caroline and Brandy. What she did say, what a lot of people have been saying, is that it seemed as if Caroline Manzo liked the flirtation and the grabbing and the things, allegedly, between Brandy and her. And some people speculated that that's why she threatened to sue, is because she didn't want that playing out on camera. That's a little bit of what she said. So if you haven't listened to the full interview with Camille Grammer, it was really interesting on Humble Brag. But she also talks about Dorit. They talked about PK in this, and Crystal said the same thing about PK. They was like, you know, PK actually, before he blocked Crystal, she said anytime that she was around PK and Dorit, they said that PK was actually really a lovely man. And they talked about the interview that he did recently, and they were talking about how he didn't dog out Dorit. He was just presenting his side of the situation. Danny says Kelsey Grammer is low down. He really is. Y'all know one of the things that they mentioned, he's a Pisces. He's a Pisces. My facts keep coming to fruition. I'm just like, oh, and he's a Pisces. Shout out to the Pisces women. Pisces men, though, that's a whole other situation. He's a Pisces. And you saw how he did how Kelsey did Camille, and how he got a divorce from her. He was low down. Ain't no good gonna come to you, Kelsey Grammer. Jermaine says, don't do it, Kel. I'm just giving you the example, okay? Just give you the example. But this is what Camille Grammer had to say on the Humble Brag podcast about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Dorit.
Are you watching going on show now?
Yeah, are you watching the season?
You know what?
Season?
Unfortunately, I found the last couple of seasons redundant and boring. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we've heard...
You know what I like about Camille? She won't deny the fact that she watches the show. You know, some housewives will try and play like, oh, I don't watch the show. Camille's like, no, I've been watching.
About the Dorit storyline now for 3 or 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And she has a way of reinventing this, but I don't know if it's her choice or Bravo's choice to keep it going. But I like to see something spice it up a bit more. Okay. And I think that Amanda coming in is a really interesting choice for this.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I wasn't sure at first when I was watching her if I was going to enjoy watching her on reality TV, but she definitely is a lightning rod that spices things up a bit.
I think whatever, whether it's edit or it's her, I think she's shifted people into seeing a different side of her that makes her more interesting and enjoyable to watch. Because I think during the season, it was kind of one note, and I think that's whether it's her, like, you're not sure whose fault that is, but I think she's a very interesting character, and she bothers them so much,
which is my favorite part.
Yeah. Well, there was such a clique. They'd be working with the same ladies over and over again. You know, they became a clique, our group on Housewives.
I was going to say, when you were on, was it cliquey?
Yes, it became very cliquey. There was a group when I was filming again.
The Fox Force Flunkies.
A friend, I think 7, 8, was it 8, 9, and like 7, 8, and 9. I think I was under contract season 9 and season 8. I found that there was a group of ladies that really had each other's back, and they called themselves the Fox Force 5. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I came in.
Weren't you involved with that? Like towards the end of that?
So I came in. I never felt, because it wasn't the whole 5.
Okay.
So I came in because Teddy put my name in, because I knew Teddy through other people, through Mommy and me. We were never really close, but.
You know what thought I had when she mentioned Teddy here? I was like, wait a second. Teddy, has been going through her health stuff. I saw that she recently said that she started dating again. And I thought to myself, and I'm not a Kyle stan. Calm down. I'm not a Kyle stan at all. I'm not even a Kyle fan. However, I thought to myself, I was like, maybe we should have been giving Kyle a little bit more grace, because during this season, wasn't Teddy going through all of her health stuff still? And that's her actual one of her best friends. Kyle's best friends is Teddy. So I was like, oh, well, you know, and she didn't even bring that up as an excuse at the reunion.
We knew of each other for sure. And then I remember when I walked in, that's that group.
Who was the Fox Five again?
Lisa, Renna, Kyle, Erica, Dorit, and Teddy.
Right, okay.
I knew because Teddy had issues, the fact that they let her go and they brought me on. And that was not both of ours intention. I thought I was going to go in with her. I knew I was never going to be part of that group. So it felt very much like you're going to be like, not you. It was just an inherent feeling of they're not going to welcome me.
I wonder if Crystal, do you guys want Crystal to come back? I don't want Crystal to come back to Beverly Hills. Just because I don't feel like Crystal can be herself with these women. You know, and I don't feel it would be authentic. But I wonder if she wants to come back, and I wonder if she did come back, what that would look like, especially now that she's sort of been distanced from it and has spoken to so many different people that have been a part of it. I'm sure she would navigate it a little bit differently. But part of me doesn't want her to come back, especially with this current group. You know what I mean?
Because they lost one of their friends.
Yes, and Kyle wanted Teddy on the show.
Yes. I mean, they're best friends.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But that was sort of the dynamic I walked into.
Shout out to our friends over at No Chaser TV for the clips, guys. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. We're almost at 500 likes, but we have over 1,200 of you here for our Tuesday takeover, where we cover a variety of hot topics, reality television news, and reality television. Let's get into the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Let me just make sure I covered all the things that I wanted to cover first. Please hold. Let me look. Yeah, talked about that. Oh, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Real Housewives of Rhode Island. We're on episode 8. I don't think it's a very long season. We already got the mid-season trailer, so I'm thinking it's probably like 14 episodes, not including the reunion. They've been renewed. If you missed it, I did talk about that during one of the previous recaps. Real Housewives of Rhode Island has been renewed for a season 2. At the top of this episode, Alicia is probably my fave. I just can't help it. For me, she's light, fun energy. You may have seen that Alicia posted on social media, and I talked about this in a previous video, where it seems like something might be going on with Alicia. Something might be going on with Alicia and Billy in regards to money. I don't know if I have maybe No Chaser has it on their account, because this happened last week. I definitely think it was on Bravo's Snark site. Let me see if I can look it up really quickly, because I think it's worth mentioning, because I'm a little concerned for her in regards to her relationship with Billy, because remember, her biggest issue for not marrying Billy is because her name is not on the house. She's in fear of, getting kicked out of this house like her mother did. Her names are not on any of the businesses. This is what led us to get into a whole conversation about she needs an FU fund. So Alicia posted on her Instagram stories this. She says, asking for a friend. Do you think if it's okay if your spouse takes your money and pays bills without asking, and you never see your money or your check? And a lot of people are like, spouse, she's not married. I think she's just putting it out there. And remember, they've been together almost 10 years. She probably looks to him as her spouse. Come on. I think she's talking about Billy here. I don't think this is a rhetorical question, or the way she might say it, rhetorical question. So she says that, and then she says in another Instagram story, asking for a friend. Do you think it's normal for someone to put your face and use your image and story for a business that you don't see a dollar from? And then I said to myself, I wouldn't be surprised, because she's on this nationally syndicated show, that he's probably posted up, come see the Real Housewives of Rhode Island star Alicia. This is her restaurant. This is associated with her. I think she's talking about that man. Our friends over the Bravo dockets said in the comment section of this post, saying no and no, signed a lawyer. So I'm concerned for Alicia. So at the very top of this week's episode, we see Alicia and Billy in the car. She's very nervous to drive on highways or across this bridge, but she's got to go pick up her daughter because Billy can't do it all the time. So before she even gets in the car, she's like, it's a 4-leaf clover, Billy. He's like, it's a weed. It's a weed. No, it's a 4-leaf clover. Can't with her. So she says she's scared to drive across this bridge. Alicia says, there's certain things that she needs when driving. She has to have her crackers in case she faints or feels faint. She needs her peppermint oil for focus. she needs her rose water her rose water spray to wake her up. I was like, to wake you up while you're driving? Okay. And gum and a good playlist. So she's updating Billy on the trip, what went down during the trip. And first of all, she said that he went on a trip, and he's like, I didn't go on a trip. You went on a trip. Okay. And then she talks about Liz downplaying the fact that she was homeless. And we talked about this endlessly. I get what Liz was trying to do, but I also get where Alicia's coming from. She was kicked out of her home and what she was used to, and her own room and her own bed. She went from that to having to share space with her mom, with her grandparents. She was kicked out of her home. So she talks a little bit about that, and then she also talks about this video that was shared with them about Brian cheating with the mistress. All right? So she talks about that. Billy's just like, how do we know that this is recent? He's like, well, it had the date on it. All right. So that was a cute scene. It was a cute opening to Real Housewives of Rhode Island. All right. Then we have Rosie and Rich at home. As you know, they're building this 5,000 square foot home together. She may have said it was going to be 8,000 square feet. Maybe Kelsey felt like she was putting on. We're going to talk more about this towards the end of this episode. Here's the thing. I think Kelsey and Rosie are a lot more alike than they're willing to admit. Okay? However, Rosie has been able to secure the husband, actual husband that she's married to, and she's not sharing him with anyone. She's been able to secure her, her own sort of job, her own identity outside of her husband. And she's able to take care of herself. She has her own viable storyline. She also has a better personality than Kelsey. Let's be honest, okay? So she talks about the struggles of building this home and all the different hiccups, which happens. Maybe she was going to build a 8,000 square foot home. She said that they weren't able to expand onto the third floor. This is what I'm getting from the after show. So they apparently was supposed to be a third floor, but because of rules and depending on the neighborhood and legally, they weren't able to expand. So maybe with the expansion of the third floor, it would have been maybe 8,000 square feet. Who cares? But I get it. We've talked about people fighting about property for years. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Chateau Charest. It took us a decade before we got Chateau Charest, and now we got it. And it's beautiful. Okay? If anything, they got more than what Chateau Charest had. Okay? And I saw Andy quoted Nene on Watch What Happens Live over the weekend, too. Okay. The legend that she is, right? Her Elvis impersonator husband. No, he's a Frank Sinatra impersonator, but he doesn't like to be called that. But that's what he is. Apparently, he has many jobs. He has investment properties. He used to be her producer. Remember that? Monique says, Rosie's husband is here for the chaos. I love it. He's messy. He's messy. Perfect house husband, though. So they talk about the struggles of building out this property. I felt so bad for their little dog during the Kelsey and Rosie fight. Did anyone else feel? I felt like triggered for the dog. I was like, and I was looking at Rosie because you're so, that's your dog. You love that dog so much. I'm like, you're triggering this dog. I felt so bad for the dog during their argument at the end of the episode. So Kelsey, she then talks about Kelsey, her and Kelsey trying to work this out in Newport, and she agreed to have Kelsey come and see the property for herself, but also to come cut her hair, and this time she'll definitely post it. Okay, right? Fine. Look, and you guys will let me know in the chat how you felt about how Kelsey showed up with the bullhorn, and why did she have that, though? That wasn't normal. Like, why did she have that in her car? You know what I mean? Like the sirens and the like, where did you get that from? Like, where can you buy that? Not that I want one. I'm just like you just randomly had that. As a tourist, and Rosie's a tourist too, I kind of cringe too, because the last thing that I would want at my property was someone to come over there. Already, the neighbors hate the fact that we're filming. Now you're coming over here making noise in the neighborhood, making a big to-do. As a tourist who's very private, and I know she's on a reality show, part of me would have been like, what are you doing? Stop. But we'll get there, all right? Speaking of Kelsey, we get this scene with Kelsey and her sister and her mom at her new apartment. So Kelsey has moved out. Apparently, she moved out right before the Newport trip. All right. She says that she's happy for some assistance because she's so used to having a driver. She's used to having the housekeeper. She's used to having the chef. Word on the street, and Kelsey said this in the recent Biofiles interview, word on the street is that Kelsey and this man broke up 2 years ago. But she wanted to bring this because this is a better story as her story for this reality show. I believe Rosie. I believe those rumors. Anyone else? She's definitely fallen from grace because, yeah, I think she's always had this apartment. And she moves into this apartment. We see her mom and sister trying to help her put together this bookshelf or something like that. And she says, you know, I need help because I'm so used to having the chefs, this and that. And I get it. This makes a better story for producers. This wouldn't be the first time. K. Michelle talked about this on the Jason Lee interview, where you're switching up your storyline. She basically told on herself, K. Michelle. You're switching up your storyline because you want to be interesting. You don't want to be a friend of the show. You want to be on the show. So you're going to do whatever it takes to secure your spot on the show. Okay? Here go Way of Keith. Way of Keith says, Rosie's lying about her lavender marriage, so why can't Kelsey lie about her current situation? This is why I said they are more alike than they are different. Yeah, the OMG says that the rumors were on Reddit about Kelsey. That's where I saw it first. It was on Reddit about Kelsey and this relationship being a farce. Like they had broken up a while ago. 2 years ago. Well, we find out more later in regards to that relationship. So Kelsey brags that she isn't paying the rent. She's like, I'm not paying the... Pay attention to how Kelsey talks. She's like, I'm not paying the rent. So they're like, who's paying the rent? She's like, my ex. You telling me your parents, your sister and your mom wouldn't have known this? I think they're just playing along because they also knew that this relationship ended a while ago. Flip Virgo says, I believe Rosie. I believe Rosie too. Miss Brown Sugar says, I believe Rosie too. So she says, my ex is paying it. Here's my thing with Kelsey. And I don't believe this. I don't believe he's paying for any of this stuff. And I think that's why Billy is okay with this relationship, because I believe her and Billy have probably been together, and that's why he's okay with playing along with this, because this is her securing her spot. But Billy, I need you to get a backbone, because it's very clear that maybe this relationship has been over, and he actually comes over in this scene and he's helping them put this thing together. Because before it didn't make sense to me. Like, why would Billy be okay with playing second fiddle to another man? Why would he be okay with that? He probably would be okay with that because it's no longer happening. Even way before this. So she brags to her mom that, my ex is paying the rent. And he's like, what else is he paying for? He's paying for her health insurance and her car insurance. I don't know if I believe it. Millie says Billy is in on it. I agree. Because why? I mean, and I'm not saying that there aren't men out here that would be okay with this, but there aren't a lot. And I don't know if I believe that Billy would be. Okay? So Billy comes over, and Billy's like, he actually wants her to get rid of the car because the ex is paying for the insurance on the car. Here's my issue with Kelsey and the ex paying for things. She says, and she talked about this on the after show as well, she feels as if she's entitled. She's like, I've been in a relationship with him for 10 years. She's like, I feel like I'm entitled to him paying for these things. I'm entitled to support. No, you are not. You're not entitled to it. Legally, you're not entitled to anything. I don't know the rules about domestic partners in Rhode Island. Maybe she is, but she hasn't said that. So, and Andre says being a mistress is a choice. Wait, are we calling her the mistress? Because she tries to make it seem in the after show, Kelsey, that she didn't know that she was in an open relationship with this man, that because he didn't talk about, oh, I'm going to Miami and I'm with someone else. And there have been rumors about his relationship, his baby mama and things like that. So apparently, yeah, because doesn't he have a kid with this other woman? All right. And, the Girls Club says, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I never believed that she lived in the mansion while she was filming the show. It makes a good story, though. It makes a good story. And I just don't understand why she's so upset with Rosie about Rosie talking about your storyline. If anything, it gave validation to your storyline that someone's talking about it. Exactly. Myra says, exactly. No one told her to remain a girlfriend for a decade. But she makes it seem like of course he's going to, pay for my rent. Of course he's going to pay for this. I'm entitled to this. I'm like, okay. I mean, if he's willing to do that, fine. I don't believe that he is, though. And if he was, why would you go from a mansion to this very humble apartment? It's not a bad apartment, but it's very humble apartment. I don't think he's paying for any of these things, y'all. Do you guys believe that he's still paying for these things? I really don't believe that. Okay. Exact Bossy says that she's lucky he's helping her transition into a new life. If that's even true. Again, I don't know if I believe that. Foxy says, I get fraudster vibes from Kelsey. Yeah. I don't believe any of that's true. And Rosie is telling her tea. Rosie's telling her tea. So we get that scene. Then we get this next scene with Ashley at home. Ashley's giving us an update on her son because you remember her son was sick. So we get an update on, and mind you, Rhode Island's not that big. So when she left Newport, she was able to get to him in like 30 minutes. Okay. But then she talks about Jared because, Ashley's storyline is that she's very concerned about Jared and Audrey's, their coffee shop, not making money. She wants Jared to do more posts on social media because he has a social media following. You remember they were on The Bachelor. So he has a big social media following. And she's saying he could do different sponsorships, and those sponsorships would be literally what he would make in a year at Audrey's. I don't understand why he doesn't do both, because he could do both. It's if she's saying like one or two of these sponsored campaigns is worth more than what this coffee shop makes in a year. So why doesn't he do both? I get Audrey takes up a lot of time, but it's not going to take you that long to be like, you know what? Audrey's going to have to wait because I'm going to do these two posts. I'm going to focus on these things. So she actually wants him to focus on doing those things. But he doesn't seem like he's passionate about Audrey. So I'm trying to understand why he even decided to do this coffee shop. Okay. Well, Shadrika says Kelsey is a clown and an escort, allegedly. All right. Wave Q says there's roughly 15 people in Rhode Island. I wonder how the casting will be in the next few years. Well, right now I feel like this is a solid cast, even with Kelsey. But it makes me wonder what Kelsey will bring in her season 2 now that she's living in this humble abode. Right? All right, then we get to the Joe Ellen story. So if you missed my last recap of Real Housewives of Rhode Island, I talked about the Joe Ellen story. And I said to you, I feel like I would not have my children around Joe Ellen's mom because she revealed last week to Alicia during this really sweet, intimate moment that her mother had her sent away 3 times, apparently in 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade. Can y'all imagine? You're that young. She sent her to a rehab facility. She's never had a problem with drugs or alcohol or anything like that. She then sent her a place where people are unaliving themselves. People that were unaliving other people kind of thing. And the only reason why her mom took her back out of the last program was because the state was going to take full custody of Joe Ellen. So Joe Ellen goes back to her grandfather's home, and she's already making little comments to her mom, like, I remember when you took Jen and you moved to the other house and you left me here for a couple of weeks. And her mom makes light of that. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that to you. Basically doing a woo, 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 basically, is what she was doing to Joe Ellen. But Joe Ellen is setting this up as a conversation. Fast forward to when Joe Ellen was on... She was in an interview, a recent interview. I don't know if it was Watch What Happens Live, I can't remember. But she gave an update on her mom, and she basically said her mom is still doing the same. I say that because in this scene, they end up having a conversation about how she grew up. We knew this scene was coming, and I told you, I don't know if my opinion about Joe Ellen's mom is going to change. It hasn't, because I think Joe Ellen's mom knew that this conversation was going to be had, and she wanted to basically make excuses for it. She blames her mother. And look, I think it had to come from somewhere. So Joellen's mother, her grandmother, basically was the same thing. She came in, she told a story like, I came in, I hurt myself, I was bleeding, and she was more concerned about the blood on her carpet than she was about me. So she's like, she makes excuses for why she's the way that she is now. So Joellen says she's trying to break the cycle of, what her grandmother did to her mom and what her mother did to her. She says that her mom wasn't very nice growing up. She says that she isn't, and because her mother wasn't respectful and nice or kind, she says that she's not that way. And that's why she's trying to break the cycle with her kids. I don't get that vibe from Joellen. Yes, we see Joellen be a little mean-spirited on this show, but we've seen worse when it comes from Housewives. I don't look at Joellen and think, oh my gosh, she's like her mother. You know what I mean? And I know she's making an effort to not be that way. But even when she's not around her children, I don't feel like she's like that with other people. I still see sweet and kind. But you know what? She probably doesn't see herself as sweet and kind or breaking the cycle or being respectful because her mother probably has always said and put into her, you're not kind, you're not respectful, you're a terrible human being. So she probably doesn't even see what we probably know. I'm not saying that she's the sweetest person on the show, y'all, but I don't see her as bad as she's voicing to her mother in this scene. Anyone else? I don't see her that bad. But that's me. Maybe y'all do see it. Let the ruler situation go. So she says this to her mother, and she's like, I'm trying to break the cycle. So Joellen's mom says that Joellen lied about being with boys and things like that because she was like, how was I a bad child? And she's like, well, you were lying about boys and things like that. And she's like, that's what kids do. And yeah, kids do stuff like that. I remember my sister doing stuff like that and getting in real trouble. I had a Jamaican mother, so just saying. So, but this was normal. My mother didn't send her away. She didn't send her to 3 different facilities, giving away partial custody. Okay. DJ says she's mean to Rosie, so I see it. No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying she's the sweetest of them all, but I don't see her as being incredibly disrespectful either. Shadrika says that Joellen is self-conscious because she never got validation from her mom in that way. It makes so much more sense, and I'm glad she's sharing this in her first season. Zilly says, I agree, her mom did a number on her. Yanira says she probably doesn't take things in her household as emotional aspect because she always had to be tough. I can see it. I can definitely see it. Foxy says Joellen was out running with the boys at a very young age. I would be worried too. But that's also, would you send your child away? Because of that, and send her, first of all, how does that even make sense? You're sending her to a rehab facility. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then when you see in this conversation, Joellen and her mom, Joellen on the after show was talking about her relationship with her dad, who's passed away. And for me, when she talked about her dad and how much she loved her dad and what her dad used to say in regards to like who's your favorite, who's the best dad, blah, blah, blah. I said her mom probably was jealous, or maybe Joellen looks a lot like her dad. And because of that, that's why she treats Joellen the way she treats Joellen. There's probably a whole lot more in regards to that. And I think it's because, and it's so kind of crazy when you think about, and I was just going to associate this with Melissa Gorga, but Melissa Gorga and her mom are really close. You know what I mean? But anyway, I've digressed. So Joellen has this conversation, and here's the thing. Did you guys notice when Joellen's mom starts crying? Because this is being filmed, and Joellen's basically calling her mother out for not being a present parent, being a nice person, putting her in these facilities 3 different times. Her mother starts crying. Did y'all see a tear? I saw tears coming out of Joellen's eyes. And I'm thinking to myself, she knows this is being filmed. She's trying to shift the conversation. I definitely think the mom is very manipulative. And she probably has always been manipulative. But here's the thing. It's so many people, and I've said this too, I wouldn't have my kids around Joellen's mother either. But Joellen wants the approval of her mom. She wants that relationship. She probably wants the relationship that she has seen on television or in other people's families. So she's fighting to have that. So that's why she will continue to have this toxic woman around her children. Let me see. Shadrika says, my mom sent my sister to Jamaica because she was out of control. That's a thing in Caribbean household. She sent her to Jamaica to another family, right? Or to a boarding school. So that's different, though. You know what I mean? That's different than sending someone to a facility for drugs, sending someone to a facility where there are people unaliving themselves, which could be more traumatic. Mara says the mom is a narcissist. That's it. RC says the tears looked very crocodilish to me. Rewatching, I was like, I don't know how much I believe this. Lakia says the mom crying. I was like, stop. I have said get out. B Life says, yep. I said Joellen must look like her dad. Her sister is her mom's twin, but her sister has gone through things too. I think the mom can't help but be toxic. So Jen too has gone through things with her mom. But I like the friendship between Joellen and her sister. But she said that, you know, they've had their rough roads, but as they've become adults, they're actually really close. Savannah says very manipulative. I watched that scene and I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh hell no. Oh hell no. All right. Then we have this scene with Liz and Dolores. I just wrote it in there so that just as a timestamp. We have Liz and Dolores. They're creating because you know Liz is the queen of weed and she has her own cannabis company with her husband. So her and Dolores are working on this gummy for women with menopause. And she points out that Rhode Island has officially said that menopause is something of concern and blah, blah, blah. So fantastic. But it was such a non-scene with Dolores again. And I heard that Dolores is not going to be at the reunion. Fine. She's not needed. She's not needed at all. She's brought nothing this season. And I'm sorry, Dolores. I always hear that Dolores is a lovely woman. And Liz has said that Dolores has been fantastic. She's helped her navigate this world of Real Housewives. And I've always heard that about Dolores. But she's brought, I had to call a thing. She's brought nothing. Gemini Green says, yes, Dolores consistently giving us nothing. Lord. DJ, we've heard not just lawsuits. Isn't he facing like criminal charges, Dino, Liz's friend? I don't know. Apparently a part of the mafia, allegedly. Kai says, thank you, Dolores, not at that reunion. Let's get to a couple of other things. Rula hosts Alicia and her her fiance, over their home. So this is what stood out to me. Rula has been missing in action. She didn't go on the trip. Rula in the after show expands on her health issues. Rula clearly did not want to go on this trip. I believe she did not want to go on this trip because Rula wanted to keep an eye on Brian. That's why I feel, because she really doesn't, like, what are they going to do? Talk about Brian? She will just be like, I don't want to hear it. I'm fine. We're fine. I don't think it's because she didn't want to be with these women. I don't believe it was because she was sick. She says in the after show, she was at the hospital for 14 days. They were running all kinds of tests. I was like, she had all kinds of excuses. Last week, the way that they edited it, they were flashing. They were like, I have a headache. I did this. I couldn't breathe. And they kept on flashing like she was running down this long list of stuff. Millie says she's been sick. Look, at the end of the day, Rula, I think, does, because of the children, because she doesn't want to get divorced again, because this would be the second time that she's gotten divorced. I don't think she wants that. Fine. But here we are. And I think the reason why she didn't go on this trip was because she wanted to be with, to keep an eye on her husband and to keep him at home. It's sad. Isn't that sad? So Brian's a little weirdo. I don't know, was he just drinking too much? So they're all there having a good time. He's sitting there talking about, he microdoses Ozempic. He says, and then when he loses muscle mass, because when you're on Ozempic, you can lose muscle mass. So when he loses the muscle mass, then he gets on a steroid. I'm like, okay. Then he says, he does a little Botox because Alicia says, I want to, get a little Botox. She doesn't know where to go. And he apparently in one of his businesses offers that. He's like, oh, yeah, you can go there and I'll give you a discount. And then he doesn't tell. He asks Rula, can I go to the bathroom? Rula's got her hand around this man's neck right now. She's like, you're not going nowhere. So he goes to the bathroom, but comes back, and he apparently had a foot emergency. And Alicia caught. Alicia's so hilarious. Alicia's just like, I thought he went to the bathroom. But now there was a foot emergency at night? I guess things can happen. She's like, you know what? I maybe give him way too much credit. Yes, you do, Alicia. And I hope Billy's not giving you these excuses. They both funny-looking men, but... Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. But Alicia has been tasked with bringing up this video to Rula. And Alicia's just like, I can't do it. I can't. Why would they give this task to Alicia? Alicia can't do this. Alicia can't bring this information to Rula. Brian comes back from the bathroom and he says that he had a work call. There was a foot emergency. Okay, sir. Brian, if it's not the mistress that he's cheating with, it will be someone else. And Rula is just looking the other way. And if you don't know what's going on with the mistress currently, Brian's suing the mistress for breaking an NDA. She's countersuing him, saying that he broke the NDA before she did. Okay. Guys, you're just joining us. We're talking about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. If you're part of the replay crew, I will be adding the timestamps later. I have a meeting literally in like 30 minutes, so I got to get out of here soon. So let's fast forward to the end of this week's episode. Kelsey goes over to Rosie's home. All right, so Rosie's already setting up. She invited her to the home to give her a haircut. She's going to make sure she posts it. But she's already leaving out the plans because she's like, she's talking about me not having a 8,000 square foot home. Let me lay out the plans to show her the 5,000 square feet that we're doing. So as Kelsey's pulling up, she's got this blowhorn. It's really loud. And she's saying, is it 8,000 square feet or is it 8,000 inches? As she's pulling, mind you, it's not like when she pulls up to the house. It's when she's coming down the street to the house. Here's the thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to twerk on the fence. It was a great Housewives moment. In real life, is it cool? No. As a tourist, would I have liked that? No. I understand completely why Rosie reacted the way Rosie reacted. To be honest with you, I completely understood why she reacted that way. But at the same time, I also understood that in a Housewives moment, that's a Housewives moment. So I'm not even mad at Kelsey, to be honest with you, because part of me chuckled because I was like, oh my God, what is she doing? But then the real part of me as like, what in the embarrassment right now? My neighbors already don't like the fact that I'm filming. They already don't like the fact that I'm on this show. And now you're bringing attention outside of my house. Tauruses are notoriously private. Outside my house, you're making all of this noise and talking about my square footage. I don't need this trouble, okay? I don't need this trouble. So I kind of understood where Rosie was coming from. But also, when you look at the history between Rosie and Kelsey, Kelsey has been coming for Rosie for a while now. And we're just like, why? What's your issue with Rosie? What is the real issue between the two of them? There really is no real issue. Poodle says, I thought it was funny. Stay smiling all day says, I immediately thought about Kenya. Kenya, more hair care. Lakia says, Kelsey would have been escorted out of my community expeditiously. But again, a great Housewives moment. T-Lux says, Kelsey got packed up literally. Well, she didn't pack her up immediately. So she's pulling in, and Rosie looks really confused. She's just like, what are you doing? So she comes into the house, and immediately they start talking. And Rosie's just like, I'm confused. Like, what's your issue with the square footage? Is it because I said in February that it was going to be 8,000 square feet? But because things changed, she was supposed to get a third floor. It didn't end up getting a third floor. So she has the plans laid out on the table when she comes into the house. And she's like, oh, are these the plans? It immediately goes south. Like, we don't even get to snip a cut of the hair. It immediately goes south very quickly. OMG Steph says Rosie lives in an HOA neighborhood too. So already her filming there, bringing attention. I'm sure you guys do not realize how sometimes some neighbors can be horrendous, okay? When it comes to stuff like that, like the Karen behavior of it all. So the last thing that you need is like, oh my gosh, I don't need you doing this. It's one thing if we're arguing inside the house. It's another thing to be doing that, okay? Kai says, Kelsey literally had me screaming. I loved it. It was very Kenya coded for real. Yeah, I get it. Part of me gets it, but I also get Rosie's reaction. Also, Rosie's like, why are you so obsessed with me? Rosie flips on her in the house. She's like, what is your problem with me? Why do you keep, going there with me? Rosie then starts reading her for filth. She's like, you sleep with man. Well, this is after she kicked her out the first time. Okay. So she's like, you know what? You can just go. So she starts taking Kelsey's stuff out the house and escorting her out. She puts Kelsey's stuff outside her house. And then she's like, you can leave. Because she accuses Kelsey of her ex buying her pageant stuff. I believe it. What do you guys believe? Do you believe the ex paid for her to win? Because when you look at Kelsey, what's Kelsey's talent? Kelsey doesn't have much of a personality. I'm sorry. Let's call a thing a thing. She doesn't have much of a personality. I can't admit. Like, we've seen pageantry women on these shows. We've seen Ashley. We've seen Candace. We've seen Kenya Moore. We've seen pageant women on Real Housewives. I don't get pageantry from Kelsey. There really doesn't seem to be much of a personality there. Okay? She gets kicked out. She's like, he paid for you to win that. That's the thing. These women know each other's tea, and they're spilling it. Rosie, if you ever see this, someone clip it and send it to her. Please make sure that you're ready at this reunion. This is your moment to be the MVP. I already feel like people are now gravitating towards you. I've been gravitating towards you since the beginning. I don't understand why they don't like you. I still think you're tacky in regards to the dress, like how you dress. But anyway, Quad Mother says Rosie packed her up literally. It sent me. She took her stuff and she brought out Kelsey. Kelsey was trying to hold on to her stuff. She put her stuff outside. Kelsey was still talking and she shoved Kelsey with the door and locked her door. Producers tried to stop it. Kelsey came back. Producers opened up the door. The way I would have turned into Nene Leakes. Anyone else? The way I would have turned into Nene Leakes when they went into her closet and she hemmed up the producer. The way I would have hemmed up that producer. Who told you to open my door when I kicked that woman out of my house? I would have hemmed up that producer. Like, get out too. Because they open up the door back and Kelsey comes back in because she needs to clear her name that she won the pageant fair and square. And she's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Everybody knows that you sleep with married men. Everybody knows you sleep with married men. You're a slam pig. So everybody's talking about Slam Pig. If you saw the preview for next week's episode, then you saw that Slam Pig situation of it all. She's going to come in. Kelsey's going to come in that she is a Mrs. Slam Pig. So for those that want to know what a Slam Pig is, I'm going to use context clues because I haven't looked it up. I'm assuming that meaning that she's sort of community property. Using context clues, I'm assuming meaning that Kelsey is community property. I've told you the fact that Kelsey lost her virginity at 14 doesn't make, I'm not saying that that makes her slutty in any way. What I'm saying is I feel like there's a lot of trauma. And the fact she got into this relationship with this man at 19, I feel like there's a lot of sexual trauma going on with Kelsey. And I feel like Rosie was telling her truth. Called her a slam pig, says that everybody knows that you sleep with married men, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Who do you believe? I believe Rosie. You can say a lot of things about Tauruses. We're not liars. You can say a lot about us Tauruses, but we're not liars. We just know the tea. We hold on to the tea. There's so much tea that I've held on to that I haven't shared about people and things, both personally, professionally, and in celebrity world. There's so much stuff that I have not said. But get me on the right day. You keep pushing a Taurus, it will eventually come out. And that's what came out. Called her a slam pig, said that she F's all the married men in Rhode Island. And Rhode Island is a small state. So they know each other's tea. Do I believe the tea about Rosie and the man at the network? I do. Rosani, thank you so much for the super chat. Rosani says, dabble in kink and the whole mistress vibe is starting to hit a little differently. His urgency to get back to her, making her a minority owner in his company. I don't know, y'all. Allegedly, of course, Rossani's talking about Brian, Rula's husband, on Real Housewives of Rhode Island. That is quite interesting, though. Like he's in love with that woman. Shadrika, thank you so much for the super chat. Shadrika says, Kempire, we like Rosie more than she liked that man. Right? You see her talk about her husband a little bit more favorable during the after show. But the way that she talks about him on the show, I'm like, here's the thing. What we didn't talk about, poor doggy. Rosie's dog, and it felt like she wasn't even paying attention to the doggy. And I appreciate production keep on showing that poor dog. That dog looked traumatized. I honestly felt uncomfortable for the dog. Anyone else? Like, I appreciate this moment for Housewives history, but for us, I felt triggered for that dog. I said, oh, damn, that poor dog. Like, you're yelling and you're fighting, and the dog, I'm surprised the dog didn't bite Kelsey. Anyone else? I'm surprised that the dog didn't bite Kelsey. Just saying. Piggy says, hold on, Kemp. I've watched the Taurus lie real well. Well, tell me, do they got a Pisces rising? Look, just because I say a Taurus doesn't really lie doesn't mean that there aren't Tauruses. Like, there's not an exception to the rule. You know what I mean? Poor Clemmy. Oh, look, oh, Lord. Savannah says she was triggered by the megaphone. That's true, too. Because, dogs can hear really well. Lakia says the dog was traumatized. That poor dog. The dog's eyes looked really sad, too, and scared. The dog went to her bed. I felt for the dog. I really, really felt for the dog. Shadrika says Clemmy never saw her mommy get crunk. Or maybe she does. Maybe she has seen the, Katya says poor dog was terrified under the table. I don't know. I think I probably would have told my dog to go somewhere else while I got this girl together. Oh, your nurse says my dog would have jumped in the middle. I'm surprised, but maybe Clemmy's a little bit more, subdued, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that the dog should have attacked Kelsey. I'm just saying I'm surprised that the dog didn't. Like, the stranger's in the house and my mom's yelling at her, pushed her out the door. Kelsey calling her a slam pig. I'm surprised she's not even barking. What a good dog. What a good dog. A mess. But it was a good episode. It's a good episode. Guys, I will add the timestamps for today's live. I did talk about all of our stories, including what's been playing out with Porsha, what's been playing out on Real Housewives of Atlanta. We talked about some pop culture stories as well. Welcome back to Tuesday Takeover. Despite one person in the chat making complaints that's been muted. Thank you, mods. Shout out to our King's Guards, guys. Be sure to say thank you to our King's Guards in the chat. We appreciate them. Thank you guys so much for the super chats, the Venmos, the cash apps, the people that support, the people that have joined our mailing list. Join our mailing list. I gave so many great, cool, intimate details of my birthday trip to Mexico City. You missed out on it, but maybe I'll resend it for the people that join between today and the end of the week. So join today, thekempire.com/join. Click the link in the description or click the link in the live chat that's pinned. All right, Tuesday Takeover is back. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for the super chats as well. Shout out to our King's Guards. Shout out to our channel members. And, of course, shout out to our subscribers. Subscribe today. You're missing out on a lot of content. We're almost at 575,000 subscribers here on the channel. All right? So shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. All right. I will see you all in the next one. Who knows when the next one will be? Probably the end of the week, our Friday live. All right? Thank you, y'all. I will see you all in the next one. I have a meeting to go to. I'll add the timestamps after. Okay. Dina says, as old as that dog is, probably couldn't hear. Think production put in those sound effects. Dina, stop. Oh, Kai, good question. Kai says, how would you rate this episode, Kempire? Well, for the fight alone and the Rula dinner, I'm going to give it 8.5. Maybe a 9. How would you guys rate this episode of Real Housewives of Rhode Island? Let me know in the chat. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to check that out as well. Yes, guys, check your spam if you joined and you haven't received an email yet from us. Check your spam. All right? All right. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. I will talk to you all later. Bye, y'all. And shout out to our sponsors. Again, sponsor information will be available in the description. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.